again. Buktooth, a legend here in Washington State here. I talked about it earlier, but he wrote a Bible for CBS2. Yes, he goes back that far on GameFAQs, mind you. And Banksters, coming from Alaska, you know, I think might be the last bastion here in terms of, for our Alaska representation. Don't quote me on that quite yet, but has been playing the Mai. Our only Mai representation, from what I understand. I talked about it, about how this character, stocks have been rising, right? And she's able to lock you down, able to control game states pretty easily. Buktooth is going to be playing probably the most fundamental Ryu you've ever seen.
Yeah, if you were watching some of the streams yesterday, you would have seen him really cooking on third strike. That Ken in that game, just playing super clean, super, just like you said, the shored up execution. But I really want to emphasize Mai, right? I've been joking this weekend that you can tell how much somebody plays Street Fighter 6 based on how much they despise fighting Mai. This character is really just turning the pressure up a notch compared to her contemporaries. That bouncing fan, really difficult for a lot of characters to deal with.
Yeah, there are certain characters I feel in fighting games that have kind of like a two-way kind of like dichotomy. You get to play your game, or you get to play a character that shuts down your opponent's game. I feel like Mai is kind of like that character, right? And Buktooth is such a character that wants to rely on DPing, going for crouch beam kicks, and also is probably the most sweep-heavy Ryu I've ever seen. And he's going to be on point with anti-air, so you have to look out for your jumps. Even though Mai's jump art is pretty good, Buktooth is still a little bit better right now.
Right. And he's got to be better because, like, even when you got the jump art, she still has that dive kick, right? You're not going to see it a lot, but it is kind of like Jury, where it's like you can blow up an anti-air or two. Yeah, but a nice low check, but a mess up. We were just talking about the execution. Don't make us a liar, Buktooth. Oh, but look at that spacing and the patience. He's not going to make any errant move from here out, but it doesn't matter as Bankster clears things up with the level 3. Slash, slash, slash.
Ooh, and the cinematic there, Nippon Ichi.
Dude, she's not even looking at him. It's like, I don't want to look at a dead body. Bankster stacking up another one. 1 win on the board.
Nice call out there from the DI on Bankster's end here. Kind of setting the tone. And then, we got to talk about this corner carry, man. I think it's honestly the best in the game.
I mean, it's
kind of
crazy, right?
You do?
It does it does hardly any damage, but the Oki and the corner carry together are so good.
And I feel like that matters maybe a little bit more in a game like Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, the rolling offense is such a big problem. If you get your back to that wall, if you get on the back foot, your opponent just has so many different options to make you uncomfortable. And nice, you see a little shimmy catching that parry attempt, and already Bankster's getting shown the power of Buktooth as he goes and takes this first round of game 2.
Yeah, absolute clean round there from Buktooth here. I'm kind of see what he kind of like does going to the next one. They both have pretty even like super gauges here too, so Buktooth will get there a lot quicker. What a trade on the DP, excuse me?
Yeah, but Bankster's too ready. We're already seeing the mix-ups on the fan pressure too, as we saw earlier, using it as like a tick throw. And a nice read. You don't get to do that for free. Not going to kill, but man, is it going to be very difficult for Buktooth to make this comeback here.
Yeah, gonna scale, of course, here. Bankster's gonna probably like move in. No, be a little bit patient. I like that. Puts down the fan and goes for the overhead here. Buktooth, what do you got? You walk forward, grab it. Okay.
Caught jumping. Man,
Bankster's, like, he was so calm and collected in there. I would have got by the walk-up throw.
And finally, just not dealing with the fan, just DP through that follow-up. But man, Banksters, I'm sure, has seen that before, as Buktooth is risking more and more on these jumps, trying desperately to claw this health deficit back into their favor. Ooh, there's that sweep that you were talking about, though.
Yeah, right there. Buktooth trying to risk the life and limb. Speaking of limbs, Bankster lands one of their own. Buktooth retaliating in kind is going to go right into the shin. Shoryuken!
And behind it, the burnout as well. Best position Buktooth has had this set thus far. Gonna force some action out of Banksters.
It's a perfect situation right here for Buktooth. He's able to get the Denjin install on the Hadoken here. Goes for another DP, yeah, because you're so scared of the burnout game from the fireballs here. You know what? It sets up all in the place. The puzzle pieces are aligning here. 1-1 apiece.
Yeah, I love just like the throws that Buktooth is going for, I just want to point out. The fearlessness, he's doing these walk-ups on very, very scary moments, especially in the corner. It's a nice bust out. Really, really interesting to see where he decides to go for it. But uh-oh. Oh my gosh. Look, we got the flame stocks, so now that fireball is especially scary. He's got 4 more of them. But Buktooth taking this offensive opportunity. It's not enough. Another splat into the corner, and that's all she wrote for this round. Banksters going up.
I can't hate what Buktooth did there either. Like, he was in burnout. He was like, all right, I have the confidence to have to fight back in the situation. I don't want to die laying down. But now we go right back into the next round here. Buktooth playing a little more aggressive. The sweep goes unpunished.
Yeah, right. You saw Banksters try to go for it, but at that perfect range.
Oh, but he's ready.
Wow, Banksters was absolutely ready for the neutral drop. I think he might have seen it a little bit too much here. Gets a throw in the corner, going for a throw loop situation. Yes, we are. Now, maybe a third situation, a shimmy. Oh, goes for a greedy one, was able to call the neutral jump with her own anti-air.
Yeah, the coverage, again, like you said, Banksters so ready for these moments where they think the only escape is that jump, but that's going to be a punish for sure. And oh, maybe a mistake dropped combo. Only getting a DP as a punish though. Whoa, that's grounded. You are dead.
Landed right on the perfect spot here to land this level 3 here, which means we get another round. We are going to the very last round between these two. Only one can move on here in losers. We do have almost a level 3 here on Bankster's side here. So as soon as Buktooth starts spending here on EXDPs, he might start spending that on his level 3 to make sure that we can chip Buktooth below that 3-bar threshold we were talking about.
That's so true. Oh no, but the heavy kick whiffing. And the DP working out as Banksters starts running away with a lead here. That level 3 not even really coming to the play early. Maybe we're just going to see it as a closeout? Because any hit right now, any hit, level 3,
yes.
It's a little bit of a short one. This is not going to kill.
It's going to be very close here. And of course, Buktooth still has some drive gauge, almost about to get level 1 as well. So he does still have potentially options, but he does have an EXDP to jailbreak himself out. He's going to play this very perfectly here. No sudden movements, but the trade with the fireball game means Banksters will be taking it over Buktooth, setting him out of the tournament. Banksters will continue to rip Alaska here at Fight Kingdom 2025.
Yeah, and the my representation continuing as well in that same kind. I'm really